I can't tell you the last time I put together a YouTube video. It's been a while, but I had the bug recently to start doing it again, and so here we are. We're gonna start this again. Today I'm playing Mini Motorways. This game has been out for a while, I think since 2021, so there's lots of content out there about this game already, but I wanted to share how I play this game, my strategies, my thought process behind this entire game, and just kind of share it. If you haven't heard of this game, the main concept or the main goal essentially is you're given a certain map and these houses and these structures spawn, and the idea is to get the vehicle from point A, the house, to point B, the structure, and back. And although it sounds simple, it can get complicated very, very quickly. You can play it in its simplest terms, but there's also ways to optimize it, and so that's kind of what I'm going to be trying to do in this gameplay. If we hop into the game, there's lots of different maps that you can play here, and it will keep track of a score. Score basically counts how many vehicles get from the house to the structure. Recently I've made it a goal of mine to get above 1,000. That has kind of expanded to be how far can we go above 1,000, because I've adapted new strategies that actually progress past that, and it's kind of gotten to I want to get above everything above 2,000. Anytime I hop into this game and play a map, that's ultimately my goal. So right now I'm kind of just trying to pick one that I'm kind of in the mood for. I don't think I want to necessarily hop into these ones that I haven't done yet. I kind of want to do a map that I've already done but enhance the score a little bit. So I'm going to kind of go back to the beginning here and just look and see. So let's try and shoot to make something more than 2,000 or pretty close. I'm going to skip Los Angeles, Tokyo, they're already above 2,000. Gonna skip Beijing as well. It's pretty close, but there's some maps that need to get a lot closer. These two are in the low 1,000s that I can improve. Same with New York City. Moscow's kind of good. I'm not gonna worry about that. We're gonna hop maybe into Mumbai. It's gonna be tough with the train. Trains always add an interesting element, but we're going to go ahead and hop into this and play this one and try to get a better score. So this is ultimately where we're starting. This is where our train track is. This is our first plot. There's going to be another color here that spawns in later, but right now we only have this yellow one to worry about. So we're just going to start this simple and connect that up like that. So I'm just going to let this kind of play through. It's not requesting any vehicles right now. This particular spot only requests vehicles like if a train comes through, I believe. I haven't played many train levels, to be honest. I'm not 100% certain. These ones will request any time, so kind of have to work with that a little bit. I'm gonna do something like this, just going straight down diagonal, connect that up and satisfy that building's requirement. This house already spawned attached to the road. That's great. One of the things that I try to implement is essentially a giant road with driveways only and no intersections. And that's not always possible, but I try to strive for that because that results in basically far less traffic. So that is ultimately my goal when I place roads down. My other goal is to have basically one giant road per color. That's another thing that I try to shoot for. And that's what gives me the higher scores. So what do I mean by no intersections and only driveways? Before we jump into that, we have our first upgrade for the first week. I generally will steer away from traffic lights. Traffic lights to me they don't really have a great purpose. They kind of cause more trouble than they're worth. So we're going to go with the roundabout here. What I was getting to before about the no intersections and driveways only, essentially what I'm talking about is these buildings or these houses, as you can see, they have this driveway that comes attached to them. So get rid of that. No matter what direction you turn, there's always a driveway that's attached to that. As soon as you go one beyond the driveway, it turns into a road. So ultimately, my goal is to have one road where the houses, when they are attached to it, is only attached via driveway. So for example, if this is a house, and we'll say there's a house. We'll say there's a house here where this spot is. Having a house here with the driveway and then connecting it to, not that part of the road, then connecting it to this part of the road. This is technically two roads here, and I don't want to do that. If anything, I want to have the houses here. I would want to have its driveway come out here and then the road come out here. This entire thing is a single road at that point, and this is connected via driveway. It'll make more sense in a real scenario, but that's kind of my process. The reason why is because vehicles will slow down at intersections, but they won't slow down at driveways. So these pink vehicles, they will slow down as they approach their driveway, obviously, but they don't slow down because there's this like extra house that's attached here. That's not considered an intersection, that's considered a driveway. So they don't slow down, meaning traffic will still continue to flow fast. All that being said, let's go ahead and get this yellow structure connected to this house. We're gonna go ahead and essentially do this pretty simply. I'm gonna bring this over this way and then bring this down diagonally like that. I kind of want to not have a ton of stuff spawn in between buildings and roads usually. Early game, it really doesn't matter, but I think it becomes more important later on in the game. So we're just going to let this play through here. It's going to spawn another yellow house in. We're not going to do anything with that. There's no obligation to do anything with the houses as long as you're supplying the requirements for each of the structures, then it really doesn't matter. This is our first little, I'm not going to call it a hiccup because it's not really a hiccup, it's a little bit of a complication, I suppose, because I would prefer to have this house supply this structure on one road and not any roads that pre-exist or intersect. You can do intersections and roundabouts, but I try my best to not do that. Even if the shortest pathway is from here to here, like cutting through here, doing an intersection there or something, that would technically be the faster pathway. But as the game progresses and traffic becomes a problem, like more vehicles are going and traveling, it becomes a lot harder to manage when there's so many vehicles. So this is my typical strategy. There are lots of people that do it a little bit different, but this is kind of my personal approach. We're just going to drag this down like this and move it over. It is requiring a lot more road tiles, but I find that later on in the game, especially as houses start to spawn in more, that you actually can get houses that spawn the same color closer, and so you can change your network throughout the game as much as you want. As long as it's not going to break anything too crazy, which has happened to me in the past. You can change everything mid-game. You can pause it, change your road structures and everything. Going back to the intersection driveway example, this, kind of gray, dark blue, whatever color this is to you, this road leading to that structure from the houses, ignoring this thing that just happened, this is technically one road going all the way around here. This is a driveway, this is a driveway, this is a driveway here, but a road leading to that driveway. So this vehicle won't slow down here and won't slow down there because they're driveways and not intersections. Kind of the basic premise, a little bit of a better example of what I was describing earlier. So we have this thing that just popped up. Luckily this is an easy one to somewhat resolve. So I'm just going to connect that house up like that. And my guess is, this is a great example now of how we can rewire or re-network our roads. This house is closer to this structure, meaning, oh gosh, there's no more roads. Oh no. But this house is closer to this, so I'm actually going to re-network this so that way this will connect. I have to wait till this vehicle finishes its trip, unfortunately, before I get those roads back, so that kind of sucks. But once I get those roads back, I can totally connect this up and essentially make that the closest house to supply the requirement for this structure. So we're gonna let this finish up here. And in the meantime, I'm also gonna wait to see if another pink house or pink houses spawn in a different location, different area. Okay, we got some of those roads back, so I'm gonna take that away. The question here is like, will this be enough to kind of get this up to speed, catch it back up? Because I had to get rid of the road. Whenever you have to get rid of a road, you have to wait for things to, finish making their trip before it goes away. But vehicles usually won't travel on the new things yet until they have kind of been established. This structure fell behind a little bit because I had nothing connecting up to it. So that's why it's like kind of behind. So hopefully it will catch up, and as I say it turns into a level 2 structure. The round one is a level 2 structure, and basically what that means is it's going to start requesting more vehicles to it. It's going to, I think, ask for double. I don't know exactly, I just know it asks for more. So we're going to rework this, because this spawned down here, which is quite annoying. And I have this here that we're going to build kind of around like this, because that way, now that we have this, we can put this here. Now, in this instance, this is going to be an intersection, which is kind of dumb. So I'm actually going to drag this down like this, and then that turns it into not an intersection. We're going to do that. Now I'm going to put a line here strategically. I don't want any 2x3 structures spawning in this spot. I think that would make things really annoying. I also don't necessarily want them spawning here. So I'm just adding these roads in here to prevent that spawn from those buildings. We're going to play this out a little bit here. Oh, and perfect. We have another house here that's going to help supply the round building. We're still trying to figure out what's happening with the pink. Unfortunately, we don't have any other pink houses that are popping up. Ideally, we'd like to have another one spawn somewhere else, just because these two are supplying this. This house is technically a backup for this. Like, these vehicles are not moving because it's being sufficiently supplied by this house. Ideally, we could take this in the meantime and supply this with this garage, this house essentially. So for simplicity, and because I don't want to have to wait for another pink house to spawn, we'll just go ahead and connect this up. And I'm gonna connect it up like that, and we'll have this work like this. The good news is the train station is only requiring vehicles once the train passes through. So like, now, once these are satisfied, we're not going to get any random blips until the train passes through again. So that's kind of nice, just because these ones are like, they just spawn blips like all the time, and so you have to maintain them very sufficiently. Okay, we have our first upgrade that is like really great, useful upgrade. So we have the bridge or a motorway. We actually already have a bridge that we can use whenever we need it, and we don't have any motorways, so I'm going to go with that option. The other thing too is it does supply some additional road tiles. We have 33 right now, so I'm not really worried about getting 20 over 10. Motorway is going to be my option, and so we have that in our back pocket in case we need to basically connect colors from really, really far away in a pinch. Taking a look here at basically the grid space a little bit, just so I can see. I really hope I'm gonna put that there. I don't want anything spawning against the train here. Like, this is fine. This is kind of far away. I didn't want anything spawning against the train. Wow, so much happening. We have two of these grayish buildings pop up. We have the train station one, and then we have this one here. And we only have these four here supplying... I know exactly what I'm going to do here. These four houses, let me play this through just a smidgen. Just a smidge. Okay, we have this one that popped in. That's annoying. But it looks like we might have some more that are going to end up spawning in down here. That's sometimes how it happens when the houses spawn in, is that they just like pop up in one spot, and then there's a cluster that pop up in that space. So we're going to let that do its thing, but I'm going to rearrange this here. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring these garages over there. That should be enough to supply that. Put it in that pattern. Then we're going to take these and bring them down and around to the backside. I could connect them here and it would all flow and be okay. I personally like to have some going in from both sides because that will just make things a lot smoother, like in my experience. So we're going to do that. I'm also going to, because this road's going away, it could potentially spawn some stuff that I don't want it to. So I'm going to strategically just put some stuff here to kind of prevent spawning of things there. Now, this guy is... we have this. Let me play this out a little bit more and see what happens. Right now it's not requesting anything, so that's good. We don't have to connect anything up yet, so we can kind of play this through and see where houses spawn and if there's a better way to like connect houses to that structure. We also had this guy pop up. He's an easy connect. We'll just go ahead and boop, 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 connect that up like that. And this is a tree. Nothing will spawn on trees, so this space is essentially safe from anything spawning on top of it. And then we'll go ahead and just connect up these guys. So there's no additional, we'll do another bridge. There's no additional houses of this color that are spawning in. I am just gonna go ahead and bring up this house to that space. Unfortunately, and this is something that I hate, I can't just drag that up because the driveways can't be a bridge or anything. I have to drag it up from here, which I personally don't like, but we gonna work with it. So I'm gonna drag up like that. Follow the water line just because it's cute looking, and we're gonna let this do its thing here. We're just gonna let this play. As you can see, as the gameplay and the game starts to progress, it starts to expand out the map. It will stop expanding at some point, but we started in this like teeny tiny little space here, and now it's kind of expanded out, and this grid space will start to expand and include more squares as well. As suspected, we do have more of these houses that showed up here. So that's kind of nice, but this also upgraded to level 2 structure in the process, and 2 houses is not gonna cut it over time. And so I'm thinking I'm going to do something here where I'm going to add in a roundabout and add it here. So the reason I'm doing this, I wouldn't normally do this in other games, but because this train station really only requests like a vehicle every time this train passes through, which doesn't happen very often, and you can time it out too. Like this will pass through and request, it'll take a while before it goes back down and through, and then it'll request another one. One house will suffice for this. And so I don't need it to go that way very often. However, I don't want these houses to go to waste, and so I do want to connect them up to level 2 structure and let the houses like meet this requirement if needed. So we'll do that. It also looks like this structure is closest to this, which, I mean, visually it makes sense. I'm gonna go ahead and add another highway. Visually it makes sense, but because this structure is closest to this, it's gonna want to supply this first before these two do. We're gonna let this play through some more. Taking a look at the grid space. Hopefully things don't get too complicated with spawns. I'm kind of wondering if something's gonna pop up here. Here. Worried about this. No, I don't think. Hopefully nothing will spawn up there. I don't necessarily want anything spawning in here either, so we're gonna block that off. Something may spawn up here. Also, we're just gonna have to wait and see. There's only so much you can control. This yellow house coming up out of nowhere. It's not a concern, but perhaps a precursor to what's about to happen. Especially also with these blue ones. Like, why are they popping up? Who knows? It's probably gonna predict something that's gonna happen in the future. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, week 6. We can get a bridge or we can get additional road tiles. A bridge probably be key. Could be very useful. So I think I'm gonna go with that option. And we have a pretty decent amount of road tiles, so we're gonna go with the bridge. Now, something that I can do here is get rid of this entirely and supply this, basically not destroy this road, but like destroy this connection and have this go down and around and supply this through with one of these guys. These guys are not being utilized at this point because these are technically closer to this. So I could bring it up that way. It gets rid of an intersection and it supplies like this building and that kind of thing. I think I'm going to go with that approach. That way we don't have to worry about intersections and things throwing things off here. So we'll get rid of that, and I am going to hug that a little bit. I don't know what's going to spawn in this space. Would be also easier to drag it all the way through, but I don't want it, again, don't want it to interrupt the flow of what pink looks like here. So we're going to do this. This ultimately, yeah, it doesn't really matter how close these are because, ooh, this train actually now required 2 people. Okay, so I don't work with the trains level that much. I always forget what their requirement is, but it looks like, what if this is going to require 2 again? Oh, it is going to require 2. But that's okay because we have this other house to help. Plus, also, by the time these guys get back, this should be more than okay. I'm not really worried about this. Oh wow, this is an annoying feature. That's kind of not ideal, but not difficult to fix. So we're going to just do that. And then we're going to add something like this. Like that to connect that up. Bada bing, bada boom. Fixed it. Easy peasy. That one's not too bad of a hiccup, but... Ooh, this one added an extra peak up there. That's cool. That's nice. That's fine. Stay connected. That's perfectly okay. Especially when this house or this structure starts requesting more, I can attach this one to it and then this one would still be supplied there. This one looks like it's starting to request more, so I might make that change sooner than later. Okay, we're good on road tiles. Motorways are the way to go. I'm going to click another motorway. We haven't needed to use one so far, which is great. So we can save them for like the really crazy situations that happen later in this game. Yeah, you can start to see this house or this structure starting to request a lot. So I'm actually going to bring that like that, and this pink structure will supply that going forward. Okay, we're going to play this through. The train kind of caused a little bit of a hiccup, but that's okay. This will catch up pretty quickly. All right, we do have this. This is an easy fix, so this will be quite nice to change. Can I go? Nope, can't do that. Probably because they're both technically considered bridges. I didn't know if the bridge went over or under the tracks, but it looks like they would collide, so I can't do that. That is okay. All right. There, that's connected. That's all good. And as I suspected, we have this pink house over here. My guess is there's going to be a plethora of pink structures that are going to be spawning over there, which means I'm going to go ahead and establish a highway like that and then kind of get that started. So we're going to let that go through. Man, the train is really affecting this building a lot. Wow, what the fuck? Why did this spawn all the way over here? That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Okay, fine, fine. We'll do that. Actually, that. And then, oopsie, connect them up like that. And then draw that for spawn prevention. Okay, this spawned here like expected. Like, that's what I was kind of expecting there. Now, because I had to destroy the highway, vehicles could not travel there, so I had to wait for that highway to spawn back in order for these vehicles to actually go satisfy that requirement. So that caused a little bit of a hiccup, but it's all fine and good now. This seems like it's kind of catching up, but it's still like taking a while for that to catch up. In general, though, things seem to be going smooth until that happened. Oh, that's so annoying. Holy crap. That's okay, because we can fix this too. It's gonna be stupid, but we're gonna do it. Because we can fix it like that. And this is probably another good time to use a highway. Perhaps here. And just feed that right into there and it'll be good. Perfect. That spawned in there like I suspected. And that's there, so that's great too. Ugh. Why'd that have to spawn there? That's so dumb. I hate that. We're gonna... You know what? It's not really that big of a deal, honestly. We don't need it right now to supply anything, and it's connected via driveway, so it's not going to slow down blue at all. So I'm just going to leave that like that. There's this yellow house that I do want to connect. What the heck is this? What the heck? Okay, we'll handle this. I want to connect this house. And in order to do that, to live into my single road driveways only, no intersection thing, I have to connect it up like that. Otherwise I'd connect it differently, make it faster, but this is fine. This, on the other hand, this is a annoying little thing. Where are they going to spawn the houses? Let's see. Let it play a little bit. Let's see. Where are they spawning houses? I don't even see where they're spawning houses. They're not spawning any. We have these. They're not being used. Could drag them down. Could do that. Could also bring a couple here over. They're not being used either. We're gonna do a temporary solution. I'm only doing this because... Oops, I don't want to do that. I'm only doing this because I don't want to do anything majorly structurally different right now. And I think this is like the simplest solution right now, and I just... the train's not really requiring that much of the houses makes me comfortable doing this approach. Again, same mentality as before. So we're just gonna let that do its thing. Holy bajoli, you requested 4 blips? Damn, that's crazy. We had this spawn in, so that's good. This can kind of be the start of perhaps our new blue line. Oh, I don't have any bridges? We're going the bridge route. Let's see, we're gonna connect there. We're gonna connect that there because it looks like pink's not behind, but it's there. I'm gonna connect it. It should be okay. Okay, things are looking okay so far. Man, this is requesting so many vehicles to that spot. There. I might change this. So I might change this so that the blue or the dark gray or whatever color this is now being structured by these two instead of those two. I wonder if it's closer. We're gonna go ahead and establish that because I want to see if it's closer. That. See which cars it requests basically to satisfy the requirement. Holy bajolly! Okay, it's requesting these first more than this. And we had this pop up, so we need to address that. Okay, let's think. We don't have to think too hard about this. Things are temporary. We can always change stuff. This structure is basically structure 1. It's not going to request a whole lot right now. We can technically get away with having 1 vehicle go to it, or 1 house go to it, maybe 2. So I'm going to take one of these, both of these actually, why not both, and just drag them down here so that the way this structure can be satisfied by these 2. I may have to end up changing that later just to ensure that this is getting properly met with the vehicles, or the requirements are getting properly met with this, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This guy just spawned in. Luckily this one looks relatively simple, and we can drag it up like that. This one looks like it's starting to request more. This house is not putting out their vehicles yet, which means we should be okay with our connections currently, but we have these as backup in case we need those. Wow, this structure immediately was like, hey, I'm gonna upgrade. So there's that. I mean, we have a highway. We can technically, these are spawning in some more, so we can technically supply this structure with what's happening over here. We have more being supplied up here. That over. This guy popped up here too. let's wait and see. We have a little bit of wiggle room to wait and see how this plays out. I'm going to attach, ugh, just kidding. I'm going to, ugh, this is a tough situation because technically this is an intersection. We're gonna do this. That'll work. I know it's ridiculous, but traffic flow. Traffic flow is important. Okay, I think I'm gonna attach these there. Going to what do I do? What to do here? I'm gonna attach that back there since this really only needs like one. It's so close, it'll be perfectly fine for now. This needs more. This needs more, and I'm thinking about just go aheading. Doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm thinking about just going ahead and attaching a highway over here. So we're going to do something like this. And then bring it over there. Lovely. We can get rid of this. This house will be unused, but that's okay for now. Keep it that way at least until it becomes a problem. So far nothing's yelling at me, but this is gonna start requesting. It's requesting a lot. This might start to get rich. This might start to get a little crazy. We'll keep an eye on that. It looks like there's still a vehicle that's not moving to it, so it might be okay. Oofa! That's crazy. Why would it do that to me? This seems like it'd be simple. Oh, it is simple. It's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. I don't know why you guys were worrying. It's fine. Just connect that up like that. Jeez, the train had so many requests. That's crazy. Okay, so we had pink houses spawn in, and it's starting to get a little windy and crazy. We're gonna not use that one for now because it'll turn into an intersection. I want to avoid it if we can. And plus, this many houses might be perfectly fine to supply that, so I'm not worried. Things seem to be okay and not breaking right now. That could change. Could very much change. But so far things are okay. So we're gonna keep on chugging along, let this play through. Jeez. Yeah, let's connect that. This guy? Man, this guy really makes things stupid, let me tell you. Because if I connect it over here, it's technically an intersection. I technically could be really annoying about this some more and do this. Don't question the strategy. It's fine. This works fine. And actually, you know what? Let's enhance this now some more. Like that, because now we can technically bring... Ooh, watch this. Bring this down like this, and you say, oh no, that's an intersection. And it's like, oh wait, maybe not. Let's see if this will work. I mean, this still causes an intersection. Unless we do this. Oh, this will still... Actually... This is gonna be so stupid. Will this work? Hold on, will this work? That's not gonna work. That doesn't work. That does not work in the slightest. But if I put it... Let me get rid of that for a second because it's throwing things off. If I put it there. God, that's ridiculous. Technically, this is one road. It's really weird, but it does the job. Watch, I just broke my game. I just broke it by doing that. Probably just screwed myself over, but we'll see what happens. Holy bajoli, stop putting pink houses down here, dude. I mean, yeah, I don't need all of them. I still got houses that have cars in them. Like, chill out. This does kind of ruin things here, admittedly, because if I want to attach this house, like this color in here, it can't do that as easily. So that's kind of tough. But right now, this seems to be doing okay. So we're just gonna go with it. We had some other things pop in here to maybe potentially make things easier. This is being supplied okay by these two for now. Eventually I might want to add these in or something. The problem is, like, once I add these in, you have the train that's going to mess with the flow, and so, like, ideally I don't want any train messing with the flow, and train doesn't affect these. So technically that's okay. All right, let's see. Let's see how much I ruined this. What the heck is that? That is crazy. Okay, you know what? You know what that means? We're just gonna have to do this. We're just gonna have to do that. That isn't ideal either. We don't really have a choice right now. This kind of threw things for a loop a little bit. Dude, we're gonna do this. Do that. And then we're gonna put that there. This is gonna hurt because I have vehicles that are gonna want to get there. This might ruin the game. Low key, it might very much ruin the game. Okay, so everything's connected up and everything's fine. The problem is waiting for this highway shenanigans to kind of fix itself. Okay, luckily this seems to be okay, but right now, because this highway situation is trying to fix itself, there's no vehicles. Now they're moving. Okay, so now they're going and doing that. What the heck is with this pink situation, though? This is crazy, because the problem is trying to connect up all these houses is gonna cause an intersection that I don't want to deal with. Unless and the problem is if I move this highway, it's gonna mess with things a lot. I thought about I could move it up here and technically connect it there. Connect it there, and that would add in more housing without creating the intersection problem. But I don't feel comfortable moving this highway until this is kind of fixed, which it's looking like it might be a little tough to fix. It's just requesting so many houses. Man, it's like having a hard time actually keeping up. Okay, that's not bad, not bad. Interestingly, I don't need all these all these houses to connect to that, but it might level up later. Who knows? Man, this pink is still like having a time. It's slowly getting better. It's very slowly getting better. This guy is starting to request a lot more also. This one we might actually have to fix first. Currently, we have all these gray houses being fed into this. This kind of needs it. That is already kind of behind. It needs it. We have a ton of options up here because we don't need that many that are going to go into there. And then we also have these two options, which they're already going this way. They might as well connect in this way and like kind of help too. So I am going to add this, which again, don't really like. It's because I like to have one steady stream, but desperate times call for desperate measures sometimes. And so I'm gonna have at least these 2 vehicles. We might get additional vehicles here that will head this way too. And hopefully this roundabout will kind of help ease the traffic issues. This mix of pink and dark gray down here is kind of a lot. So now that we have this helping, I'm actually going to attach one of these houses over here because this one looks like it's struggling also. Look at this mess. Look at that. That is insane. This one's struggling now too. Oh, my Lanta. Okay, we're gonna have to do some changes here. I don't like to do this, but again, desperate times. Gonna bring those over to help supply. Man, the fact that this is causing an error, this was having problems, is not good. Pink is slowly starting to catch up. Okay, this one looks like it's teetering back and forth between resolved and unresolved. I think for the meantime, I'm actually going to get rid of those 2. I know that's 2 less, but I think that's causing a slowdown here because it is an intersection. These ones can supply the cars we need without having major slowdowns. So I think I'm gonna take away those 2 for now and just have these houses over here that are already connected focus on supplying to this building and see if that actually helps things a little bit. Okay, this one leveled up. This one leveled up, which means I'm gonna want to change this a little bit because these ones seem to be okay with having a single house. Like this has so many connected to it and it's perfectly fine. So I'm going to, I have a highway still that is being unused. I am going to attach it here and bring these in to here and use these vehicles to supply this one. Those ones actually technically also might be closer, so they may end up being faster in getting to, or like being the priority as far as what gets fed there. Pink is still a problem. How can we fix pink? How can we fix pink? We can fix pink by doing this. This is gonna break the game probably. We're just gonna do this. We need to figure something out. Damn, this is gonna result in less going. I don't like that, but I don't like that at all, actually. Wow, this basically ruined that. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to connect this over here, which means we're gonna have maybe one less house there. Okay, this one's like teetering back and forth with being satisfied and unsatisfied. This one's also not satisfied because this bridge is not, not the bridge, the highway is not gone, which again, like I said, this might break it, so we'll see. It is probably going to break it. That's going to slow things down. That's going to go away. These guys are all going to go up there, but they're not going to get there in time, probably. This is a crazy mess right here, also. This is probably about where things are going to end, I would guess, because we have quite a few problems here. It's crazy that pink can't seem to be satisfied by what is being connected here, unfortunately. Kind of hate that, connection. Ew, that's really gross. Hate that connection, but at least it gives us another house. Again, desperate times. This guy having a mess. This one's having a mess. That's kind of not shocking necessarily, but everything is starting to explode now, which this is to be expected, I think, with my typical gameplay. I haven't quite optimized it in the best way to get super high points, but ultimately my goal is to get a better score than before and to try to be above 2,000. We're above 2,000 now, and so there's not a really great way to fix this, honestly. I don't even know if it can be fixed at this point. This is requesting so many cars, and for the most part, you have traffic and it should supply it. This one, I'm gonna drag that down there and connect it like that, because this one's requesting a bunch. This one might go first. That one's requesting so many. I don't even know where these ones are going. I don't think they're even going here. I think they're going back to their house, which means this one's not even gonna get a supply of anything. Maybe. This one all of a sudden is requesting more. So there's that, which I don't really have anything to connect up to that currently to fix it. So this is probably where I'd guess things would end. I don't have any highways to do any quick fixes. All I have are bridges and a ton of road tiles, and I don't really have any space to move or adjust anything right now. I don't really want to get rid of the highways. Pink looks like it's trying to fix itself. That looks like it's trying to fix. This is what's gonna go first. Guarantee. If it does. If requests don't slow down, which doesn't look like they are. So that one's gonna go. Or this one. This one actually caught up. It's gonna go 2. One of these is gonna go. For sure. This one. It's like barely hanging on for dear life. Will it get to 3,000? No. Ooh, it was the yellow one coming out of nowhere and ruining the game. That's great. There was no great way to fix that one, so I'm not really worried about it. But we got 2710 commuters, which is a better score than previously. And where does that put us? Top 4% of scores. So I'm happy with that. Good with that result. We beat our score. That's my main concern, and we continue to strive for above 2,000 for now. So that's all I have for the video today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.